Hey there, welcome to the Achievers Way podcast. My name is Isia Reitzema. The Achievers Way is a conversational podcast that chronicles the journey and sheds a spotlight on successful expatriates, successful business professionals of immigrant background. Our guest today is OC Ukeje, an award-winning actor and musician active in both Hollywood and Nollywood. Widely recognized as one of Nigeria's most established actors, he has featured in several films locally and internationally. He's a recipient of 6 African awards and has featured in several award-winning films, including Two Brides and a Baby and Half of a Yellow Sun. Born in Nigeria, OC has an established career in Nigeria and Canada in the entertainment industry.
Is the word coincidental? I think that might be the word. Because again, like I told you in the beginning, I always wanted an international career. Yeah. But I honestly did not know what that looked like. It's interesting that I think out of all the people that I've been in a serious relationship with, and I guess in terms of whether it is price points, value of currency, all these things make a difference. And the reason I say that is, as an actor back home, if I made some money from a gig.
Hi, OC. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh my God. I think I have an idea where to start, and I just want this to be very conversational where we're just gisting.
Okay.
But 2 things that I really want to touch on, which is something we both have, is that we both relocated after establishing some kind of solid career back home, and we both relocated in our 30s, which is considered, ancient age by most.
Yeah.
And having to start afresh and pay your dues again in a new place with people that didn't grow with you. First question is, could you give us some insight into your background or childhood? Something that you believe led the way for you to become the actor you are today or the person you are today?
Right. Well, I'll be honest with you, I really think that as far as it goes with acting specifically, I think I stumbled on that. And stumbled on it, but I guess holistically, I was kind of always edging, in that direction. From very little, I didn't know I was a singer, but apparently everybody knew I was a singer. So the singing aspect was, locked down. And then I did that for a very long time before I got into uni, and then got into University of Lagos. And then, fellowship on campus. I was working with, we had a music group. We used to get all these invitations around and stuff, And then I guess from there, this organization, Rhythm of the Black Band, saw me, invited me to, jump on the play that they were doing at the time, which we ran for like 4-5 years, different plays during that period. But it was meeting who was in charge of that sort of, formed everything in my mind. His name is Dozie Atueye. Till tomorrow, still the one person who pointed it out to me clearly. He says, look, you know how to act, you know how to sing, you have good communication skills, you're great looking. These are the elements you need to be in this business. I'm just like, oh, okay. Nobody had ever told it to me like that before, and that sort of set the ball rolling for everything. This was year 2 of, University of Lagos. So this is way back 2002, basically, and so that sort of set me up into understanding, okay, people are telling me I can do this acting thing. By my 3rd year, I came to accept it. And this was me now looking for how do I go mainstream with this. And so finished school, did a reality TV show, won the reality TV show in 2005. And then this is now like, okay, so how do we go mainstream? And I guess I've been chasing it from then. It's like, I knew, I think part of the things, and this will lead up into why we've landed abroad. In 2008, I believe, first time ever that I traveled out of Nigeria. Peace, I am Osigwe, God rest her soul. She just died, if I'm not mistaken, 2 weeks ago or so. She put me on a plane to Berlin, to the film festival. It was the first time I'd ever been out of Nigeria. It was the first time, I'd been to a film festival, and it was the first time I had seen film done or talked about or attended to the way they were. I was just like, what manner of heaven is this? Like, who does this? Like, how are there
Yeah.
people in the world who are taking film like this? And I'm telling you, so that changed my mind completely. And I think from then on, I decided that I wanted an international career. Now, I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that, I want an international career where it's like, they say it's abroad, this thing is shaking. We're going to go there and look for where to shake.
And we are going to shake it
And
too.
we're going to shake it too. So that was the whole, I think that's the point where, that sort of changed a lot of things for me in terms of where I kind of saw where my career was going to go. But like I said, at the point, I didn't know what that meant. I just, assumed being Nigerian and international will rub on my body and,
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, that's kind of where things kick off.
I think it's always amazing to have those people in our lives who see us before we see ourselves.
Yes, it is.
And it is really amazing. And they're very integral in helping you shape a future that is in line with who you are while you're still distracted by everything you could be.
Listen, it is crazy that this happened because, for me, I think it is an important part of, the pursuits we have in life that you always remember to say a proper thank you to those people, and that's why it is so painful to me that, peace passed on before I feel like I had the opportunity to say, you have no idea what you did for me in my life. Like, you have no idea how you set me on a path, Thankfully, Dozie is still around, so there is time. And, he knows it by words, but I don't think that is sufficient. I think that, the same way that George Clooney called 10 of his friends and gave them $1 million each, just thank you for being my friends over the years. It would be nice to do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
It would be very nice.
It will be very nice to say, look, you set me on the right path. I appreciate you for that. So you're right. I quite agree.
Yeah. I think I want to go just a little step further back.
Okay.
What was going through your mind the first time you held a script? And should I say when you were reading through it? Or when it was time to actually perform? And you had, what was going through your mind? Like, I think because we see actors and we see you guys as, phenomenally talented, heard you deliver your lines with such excellent, and we're like, oh my God, like we lose ourselves watching you. Like, we don't even remember that this is something that is being acted out. But you have held the script.
Yeah.
And especially, shall I say, a script that you felt was so much larger than life or very important to you.
Yeah.
I'm curious whether any insecurities, is there any internal dialogue happening? Like,
are you kidding? Is it like
please tell me.
Till tomorrow, it's like all the time that you get something.
What happens? What do you say?
Okay, so
do you have imposter syndrome like the rest of us?
wait. Okay, so first of all, I can't tell you that I remember what it was like the first time I held a script. I just remember, and this was with Aikio Sakiodua, back on campus.
Yeah.
They wanted us to do something. I remember thinking, well, give me the script. Let me read through the thing. Let me see the character that I like. And then that's the one I will do.
Which is,
and the framing of the mind for that tells you that, at the time I was not ready for, there are certain things in a character that are not going to be stuff that you like. So approaching, scripts and stuff is not oh, this is the one I like, I want to do. No. Whatever journey that character is going to go through, you have to be ready for the, I guess, 360, effect of that. And some of it you're not going to like, but the important thing is you have to understand and I guess empathize, But that was my thinking then. And, from then till now, I promise you, like, it is still one of the scariest things to do.
Really?
Yes, it is. It is scary because...
Is it when you get the script or when you're actually delivering the lines?
No, when you get the script. Oh, when you get the script. Yeah, because when you get the script and you've read this thing, first few things that are flashing through your mind is, okay, do I have this experience? Do I know what this thing is about? Do I know anybody who has been through this kind of thing? And if you don't, it's like, okay, so how do you want to act this out? And you want it believable enough that people actually believe that this is possible, you know?
Yeah.
And then obviously there are things you're grappling with depending on what kind of script it is. Are these believable lines? You know, do they sound
Yeah.
like real scenarios? And then
Yeah.
again, this is all genre based, depending if it's sci-fi, you know, yeah, those things are, you know, they're not believable stuff. But when it comes to
Yeah.
stuff like drama and romance, you know, and so you have all these, like you're worried, like, and you're worried about, this is just a script level. When you get to performance level, that's another level of worry.
Oh my God.
Honestly, because this is you wondering, am I doing justice to it? And I'm
Yeah.
saying, you know, even down to when it's now released, we're frantic. As we say, with a fear, you are afraid because it's like, hey, God, how are the people going
Will it
to
be well
take it? Will it be
received?
well
Yeah.
received? You know, and then this is outside you judging yourself when you see yourself on screen and just be like, oh, nah, you know, try your forehand here. You could have done this better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is a constant roller coaster of emotions, you know, because you are constantly second guessing yourself. Constantly. From when you get the script till when it is
Really?
released. It's insane.
I can imagine that it must be quite tough then to have all this that you're processing internally,
Mm-hmm.
and then to receive judgment from people who don't understand you, understand your process, or understand, shall I say, the profession, and they just like pass judgment just offhandedly just because they can.
You know,
How does this not damage
you
you
know, it is.
or how you feel?
I guess this is one of the things that you learn, you know, as you progress in the business. And the reason I say that is you start learning very quickly that art is subjective and everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you have to develop the aspects of you that appreciate feedback, whether constructive or destructive. That is an absolutely important layer that you must add to your craft as an actor. It is
Yeah.
almost as important as learning your lines and performing on sets
Yeah.
because you have to understand that these are the choices that I've made, but someone is going to see it and not agree with you.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And I'll be honest with you, I try to avoid, you know, looking at those, you know, those remarks. I take in
Yeah.
as much as I can and then
Yeah.
I shut down the rest. Especially also
Yeah.
because it's important to get that feedback because you kind of need to be, you know, shape shifting with your career and kind of
Yeah.
figuring out how
Yeah.
to balance. But you have to
Yeah.
know where to, you know, turn that
Draw the
tap off,
line.
exactly, draw the line and just be okay with, okay, I've heard enough. I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys. And then, you know, on to the next one. You
Nice.
know,
I think that's very helpful.
yeah.
I have another question about entertainment, the arts,
Yeah.
and African, shall I say, we're both Nigerian, so let's just say the Nigerian mindset.
Right.
I was born in the 80s.
As I
Were you
was,
born in the
as
80s?
was I.
Exactly. So I'm sure you can
As
relate to
was
what I'm
I.
about to say. Nowadays, it's more accepted, you know, entertainment, being an artist, and those things. And I will pull from my experience. When I was early teenage years, there was a girl in my school, and she said, I could never forget this word. She said, when I grow up, I'm already laughing in
Oh boy.
advance.
Oh boy.
I want to be an actress and I want to be married to a footballer.
Oh.
And everyone treated her like a leper.
Oh.
Like, you must be deranged, something is wrong with your brain.
Right.
Like, how are you even existing?
Right.
That was how she was looked at.
Right.
Because the arts was something that was so looked down on.
Yeah.
This is early 90s.
Yeah.
But we've gone a long way from that.
Yes, we have.
And so, did you have that kind of experience in your childhood or your teenage years where the perception of being in entertainment or being an artist was like, what are you talking about? You have to go study something, you know, engineering,
Right.
law,
Right.
doctor.
Or
Yeah, either a
disgrace to the
doctor or a
family.
lawyer. Exactly. You have to be a doctor. All our parents then, there were only three professions that were worthy of: doctor, lawyer, and
An
was it
engineer. That's
engineer?
it now.
Engineer,
Yeah,
engineer.
that's
Now
it.
you know,
And
that's it.
after that,
Anything else from
disgrace to
that,
the family.
yeah, disgrace to your ancestors.
Oh my
Did you ever
God.
have that, and how did you shape your life in spite of all that constant feedback?
I always thought I was going to be a doctor.
Really?
Yes, that's what I thought I was going to be.
Oh my God.
And you must
You would have made an excellent doctor.
I don't know. The reason why I
I
say
think you would have, because you're good with people.
thank you for saying that. I appreciate you saying that. I guess, now that I think about it, it was also important for this business I'm doing now because I often say to my friends that our business is maybe 70% of the time people management.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that you're saying that. These are the only professions we know.
Yeah, doctor, lawyer, engineer.
And you can imagine the shock for me when I realized that there were courses like microbiology and marine science that I studied, and zoology. I'm just like, sorry, what are these, But I wanted to be a doctor because, again, these are the only things we knew. But I figured, it'd be great. My mother never asked, whether, I had some sort of proof, I guess to show my mom that what I was doing was working out. So that's for me, I guess at the point that was what was more important. So it wasn't so much oh my God, I'm getting pressure about not being a doctor. No, fortunately for me, I wasn't exposed to that. It was just so now that I want to do this, they have to be able to prove to my mom that, this thing is actually going to make a life for me.
That's important.
Exactly.
I remember my father saying to me, it was the same in my family where it was all about intellect and what you're studying and how you school. And the idea of anything beyond doctor, like my father badly wanted one of his kids to be a doctor. And I looked him in the face, I was still a child, and I said, you know what, you have 4 kids, perhaps one of them will be a doctor. You just need to know that it would never be. What do you mean? I'm like, I don't want you to, I was young then. This is one of the first times I actually, and I wasn't angry or rude. I was very young.
Right.
And my father was a
you've always been this super composed person. So my brain is imagining you in all your composure.
The man he never mentioned it again. I don't think I was even 10. I was like,
wow.
8. I said, you have 4 kids, Daddy. Let's just hash this out now so that it doesn't go on for too long. You have 4 children. Right. That's fine. Okay, so what would you say to people of our generation who now have children but still have the mindset that art and entertainment is somehow inferior, and they want their child to live up to their own expectations and follow a more
traditional path?
Thank you. Yeah. What would you say to them? Like having been through everything you've been through and being in your position in life now.
I guess I would ask them to, flash back on their younger experiences, because what is the point of talking about history and talking about all of these things if you don't understand how you have now become a part of history because you have lived 30, 40 years on this earth. 40 of those have gone. You have had an experience, and some of those experiences with your forebears were not the most enjoyable experience. So why do you want to revisit,
to pass it on,
that sort of thing to your, and again, just from just a dialogue point of view, because it's also that thing where it's like, I understand the intent. You want the best for your kid.
Yeah.
It makes sense to always want the best for your children. But ultimately, they have to live those lives. And I guess also it's the thing where it's like, even if you don't have any of that experience, then draw from the experiences of all the people that you surrounded yourself with, because people who thought their children were going to be, pastors' kids who, became wayward or whatnot, so you do your best to give them all the tools, but ultimately it's their decision to figure out, where they want to go. And then the best you can hope for is that you guide them and that you will always be a part of their story. Yeah. Because there's nothing worse than when they become who they become, they cannot attribute some of that success
to
to
you.
what you did for them. And that's what legacy is about, which is what at this age, I dare say a lot of us are looking for. What has my legacy, or what is my legacy going to be, and what have I contributed before I leave? So if anything, make sure that they make you a part of that story.
I do agree. What I do say to parents sometimes, or people who are related to others,
right,
perhaps younger, who are struggling and want to do something, oh, it's not good enough, we should do this particular job or follow this particular career. I like to say you have to trust that you raised them well enough to make the right decisions. And that also puts some of the responsibility in the hands of the parent, that you have to trust that you raised your child solid enough to exist in this world and to thrive, in spite of everything that the world is going through. You can't keep making the decisions for them, because then if it goes right, then it goes right. But if it goes wrong, they are the ones who are going to bear that consequence. And
I couldn't have said it better, honestly.
Who knows whether it made any impact, but that's how I see it. Like, you have to trust that you.
I think you probably hit the most important element ever is trusting that you raised them right.
You have to trust that you raised them right.
Like
in my family, we all went to boarding house.
Yeah.
Now that I'm an adult, people are like, "Oh my God, boarding house is so horrible. How could your parents do that to you?" But we went through the boarding house and we came out very close knit. Extremely close knit.
I liked boarding house.
Disciplined. Yeah, very disciplined, very connected to our culture, heritage, family. I don't know how that is. And I'm like, my parents just raised us a certain way and stayed with us even when they were not there.
Right.
Watching over our shoulders. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe you went to a boarding house too.
I went to a boarding house for 6 years.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Which one?
Federal Government College, Ijaniki in Lagos.
Oh, you guys were the posh.
No, I don't know.
Federal Government College people. I went to Mayflower, and Mayflower students used to yab Federal Government College students.
Wait, Mayflower is one of them private ones now.
Now, yes.
Yeah, sure, it wasn't always private. I think it was always private.
Oh, it was always private, and then it became, the government bought it over,
Oh, really?
Oh, but that school was hard, It was like, make a lot of... Anybody who went to Mayflower knows what Mayflower was like. So
oh, my God.
I think if you have a cup of, how do I want to say? I don't want to say soft. That's too strong. If you came to the world and there was a cup of amount of, you're about to say iya. You know what iya means?
No, I don't.
Iya translates in English to suffering, but it's just more than that. Iya is like pepper. The amount of pepper that the angels have dedicated to you in this life.
Oh my God.
Like your cup will run it over. Your guardian angel will ask for a second cup just to keep you afloat. Even that cup will run over.
Oh my God.
I spent 12 years in that school.
Oh my God.
12 solid years. I think.
What are you saying?
12 solid years. So I'm quiet now. I don't talk much, but I paid my dues all the time.
Okay, now we're understanding why you're a quiet and composed person.
I paid my dues. Yeah. Yeah,
oh my God.
You wake up at 5:15 to a whistle.
Yeah.
You don't wake up. You leap out of bed.
So you're giving me flashbacks, I swear.
You leap out of bed. The whistle will be... You leap out of bed, wear your Dunlop slippers in like 30 seconds, fly out into the cold, and you start running. You're running around a huge football field.
Wait, what are you running for? Like, this is a morning exercise?
To keep your body.
Oh, okay.
To wake up. In case you are still in La La Land somewhere. Your body, your soul, and your spirit has to integrate. Like, you need to wake up.
Right.
Oh my God, with flowers. I spent 12 years in that school.
Wow. Yeah. You just, gave me some serious flashbacks,
Oh, with flowers thing. OC,
yes.
Why did you leave Nigeria?
Is the word coincidental? I think that might be the word. Because again, like I told you in the beginning, I always wanted an international career,
Yeah.
but I honestly did not know what that looked like. But I did realize at some points, and again, this is with all due respect to my industry, everything that I know, everything that I've learned,
Yeah.
I think that I have been cooked in the furnaces of Nigeria. When I went to LA and I did this diploma course in acting for film, when I came back to Nigeria, I was already plotting my exit strategy from then. I was going to go to UCLA. I was going to do, what's it called? An acting course. I figured this thing out. I'd do the 1 year course. I'd do a 6 month, I think it was called an OPT, Optical Practical Training or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the next year, you could work in the industry. And I was going to use that 2.5 years and just plug myself into the business. That was my plan. And then I won this award, the AMVCs, and it was the inaugural one, and it was the first time I got that much spotlight in Africa. So that sort of changed that plan for me. So I did think that as at that point, our industry was not growing fast enough.
What was that like? What did you struggle with when you had to leave and when you finally arrived?
Right.
What did you struggle with?
I will preface this by saying that because I'd been coming out to film festivals in different countries, I had a sense of what the market was like.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I also have like a really small, group of friends, Emma being one of them, who we'd have these conversations, about what the industry is like outside of here,
Yeah.
And then I guess just seeing what is happening on a global scale kind of prepares your mind for what you're going to face when you go into a market like this in terms of whether it's just being black, because being Nigeria is one thing. On the world
Yeah.
stage, you're black, so you know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
So it sort of prepared my mind, and I wanted to preface, that, but I think that some of the challenges that I faced, and I guess still facing, is, I think maybe top of that is skill sets. Now, when I say skill set, in their culture, from when you start growing up, they find ways to, you kind of keep yourself active and get, whether it's summer gigs or summer jobs or stuff, or they've been a lot more exposed in terms of the things that they learn and pick up and just, play around, whether it's on computers and stuff. And you and
Yeah.
I know, for me who was born in the 80s, it took me a while before I got a laptop of my own. If you came from certain families, you could afford that. If you came from other families, you couldn't,
Yeah.
And you and I know that even at the time, there was a period when you have to go to an internet cafe to access, computers,
Yeah. For sure.
and you do not realize how much of a difference that makes, when you come from a society like that versus when you're in a society where there's been a lot more access and so a lot more exposure to, things, things that they were just doing, whether for summer jobs or just doing in their pastime or in their basements or whatever, that eventually become important skills or life skills
Yeah.
that leads
Yeah.
you into aspects of work to do. I never had that. Everything that, I sort of eventually did were all like performance based, you know, sing, act, I used to write poetry
Mm.
for a bit, but I never really, developed that. And
Yeah.
there are people who have gone from developing that into writing, whether it is for commercials or writing, or,
Yeah.
whatever category of writing you fall into. But I never developed that. And so when I came here, I realized that I didn't have a lot of skills because I'm coming to the creative markets. You have to realize that in trying to plug yourself in the creative market, you still have your everyday necessities. Oh, that, which is another really big one. When you come
What
in,
are everyday
yeah, when
necessities?
you come into a society where it's like, there are everyday bills to take care of, which is
Yeah.
very different from the society you come from. And I guess in terms of whether it is price points, value of currency, all these things make a difference. And the reason I say that is, as an actor back home, if I made some money from a gig, some of that money, depending on how much it was, can run me for a bit. And so there are certain things I don't have to worry about. Also, as a society, there are things like, you pay your rent once a year. So when you have that bulk sum, you pay that off. You don't have to worry about it for a whole year, Meanwhile, when you cross over here, you have to pay this every month. If it's down to things like phone bills or internet bills, you have monthly, bills that we sort of set up very differently as a society in Nigeria. That once you make a bulk sum, you make bulk sum, you sort of, take care of that. But then you come over here and realize that your daily expenses is an actual thing. And again, based on the way the societies differ, people are very independent on this side.
Hi guys, it's your Raitama here. I want to thank you so much for watching, because if you're here and you're seeing this, it means you watched the show all the way to the end, and you have my thanks. If you like the content, if you thought it was helpful to you or to somebody else, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also to share it amongst other people that could benefit from it. We're a really young channel, and we're really hoping to grow and attract other expatriates, other international business professionals, other immigrants who are thriving in business and dominating globally. We're trying to attract them to come on the show and share their experiences, their knowledge, their wisdom that can be helpful for others who share a similar context to them. So until next time, enjoy yourself, enjoy your life, enjoy your work.